Ladies and gentlemen, gentlemen and ladies, ladies and gents, I just thought that we'd play a little bit of Walking in Rhythm. Got a bunch of other people that's going to be showing up to my little party here. This is only just taking a moment. There's been so much going on over the last 6 months in this life of mine, and I just figured I'd explain a couple of things. Ladies and gentlemen, the first thing I want to do is I want to show you all something. Not so much this stuff right here. No, this is the wrong one. Hold on. Somebody saw the video yesterday, and they said, look, you're showing all of your email addresses. Please understand, ladies and gentlemen, I show that in all of my videos. Every time you see me pull up that browser with my email addresses, I'm not hiding nothing from anybody. The people who do see that, it's okay. They can try to email, and I just spam them. So this particular idiot decided that he's transgender. And so, let me explain something. When we put out the call for individuals to be arbitrators, we put it out for anybody who wanted to volunteer who had a master's degree or a bachelor's degree. There was no prerequisites. There was no if you're this, if you're that. I'm one of Jehovah's Witnesses, and so I don't play this and I don't play that. And if you, it has nothing to do with being a Jehovah's Witness. It has nothing to do with sexual orientation. It has nothing to do with race. It has nothing to do with what country you're from. You can have a master's degree and be from Africa and still qualify. But the first thing this person did when they contacted us is they highlighted the fact that they were transgender, male, female. Who cares? Wait, hold on. Who in the cares? What does that have to do with anything? Let me tell you why this person did that. This person did it because they knew that I said I'm one of Jehovah's Witnesses, so they thought that Jehovah's Witnesses were homophobes and all these other names you want to call people. That's whatever that person's decision was in his life, her life, whoever's life it was, that's their decision. Ain't got nothing to do with me. But this person wanted to impose their ignorance on me. And I just say, wait, hold on.
Regulate any stealing of his property. We're damn good too. But you can't be any geek off the street. Gotta be handy with the steel, if you know what I mean. Earn your keep. Regulators!
Mount up! Okay, ladies and gentlemen, you can't get that rise out of me. Because this is not about me. This is about helping people, helping our fellow neighbor. So, despite the fact that this person highlighted what choice they had made in their lives, what had nothing to do with the offer that was being put out there to people, they highlighted saying, I hope this doesn't disqualify me. Again, highlighting the fact that they wanted to make issue of it or was expecting there to be an issue. No problem. So then, we specifically said that this is no avenue for you to try to get in touch with EeoN. And then a person emails EeoN and tells EeoN that specifically that's why they joined, because they wanted to have access to EeoN. What the flying farfignugan? I don't think so. So I basically did a joint communication to everybody in that group, letting them know that that's not the program here, that you don't get to have access to EeoN. You can have access to EeoN. If that's what your intentions were, you need to go on about your business. So, person comes back with attitude. So, I communicated with them privately through private communication, and I specifically said, hey, enough. I said, I think you need to let this one go. I'm going to pretend that what you just wrote did not happen. But the fact that you put that before the entire group, there might have been a problem, but we're going to let it go. Of course, I didn't read the entire comment the person made because it was, what is that thing? Manifesto. So I read the rest of it and I'm like, oh, no. And I immediately removed that person from that group. No contract was ever signed. No agreement was ever made. Why? Why did you do that? I did that because this person has to be impartial. This person has to leave their personal stuff out of it. They cannot have views, politically or otherwise, while being an arbitrator. An arbitrator has to be impartial. This person showed that not only would they take things personally, but they could not be objective and impartial. That they, impartial anyway, that they could not be objective. Now they'll swear up and down they could. I guarantee you, just like everybody and their grandmama would swear up and down. So what do? You put people in a situation to where they have to make a choice. So when I wrote that email, I specifically said certain things in that email that was not to be taken personal, but that the individual took personally. And it was a weeding out process. We don't know you guys from Tom, Dick, Mary, Joe, or Jane. And so we did it the way we did it, and we've always done it that way. Why? Because we have to protect the interests of you. Because, for instance, we had a gentleman write us, and this guy was basically saying, F y'all, mother this, mother that, I hope all of you die. Literally. Asking that we die. Y'all know this song, right? This is our Boys to Men. We don't even know what we argue about. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, not only did he do it in all capital letters, man, he did it in all capital letters. What was he trying to say? I think he was trying to yell. But, for crying out loud. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, our staff is not permitted to take what you write personally. However, they are also not required to take abuse. So what we did was we simply responded to this individual who said that nobody's been in contact with him. I'll let you know what he said in verbatim. He said that his friend had gotten a SAT pack and had received remedy. And he received remedy in a short period of time, and here it is, it's been 6 months for him, and he's gotten no remedy. Nobody's responded back to him. Lord have mercy. Dagnabbit. We have a policy that we respond back to people within 24 hours, and over the past month, it's been 3-4 days, 48 hours, but it's been 3 or 4 days. So we have still responded back to everybody. Some people have received several responses, okay? Because we make sure that we respond to everyone. However, a lot of people are asking questions at SATCOM concerning the stuff they hear on these videos. Ladies and gentlemen, these videos have nothing to do with SATCOM. This channel does not represent SATCOM, and SATCOM does not represent this channel. We've said that to people many times, and they still want to contact SATCOM regarding the stuff they hear on my videos. Please understand, ladies and gentlemen, I am just a consultant with SATCOM. I don't share all of my knowledge and understanding with them, nor are they required to have all of my knowledge and understanding or all of the knowledge and understanding of law. You cannot contact them. You have to do your own research and homework. No, you can't contact me either because I'm not going to communicate back with you. There's too many things going on. 5 different organizations we've started. 5 people. And there's one person who is helping to get these things going and operate them. So you have to understand, I simply don't have the time. So if you really need to get in touch with somebody, get in touch with your own self. That's right. Get to know who you are. But you cannot get in touch with me. So even the idiot that I talked about at the very beginning, not the second guy. The second guy's not an idiot. He did what he did because he wanted to get our attention. He was just trying to get our attention. He was frustrated. Things weren't going his way in certain aspects of his life. He just wanted to get our attention, and we knew that. We understood that. No problem. But we had to explain to him, nobody's promised anyone remedy with the SAT packs. What we did promise to do was help you register the memorial. Ladies and gentlemen, this is one of my favorite songs by this woman right here.
Come to think of it, as bad as we think they are,
Originally done by Barbara Streisand.
the good old days for our children.
But this is Gladys Knight, y'all.
Why don't we try to remember
This is the way we were.
that kind of September when
That kind of September. Y'all remember that
life was
September?
slow
When life was slow and
so mellow.
oh so mellow. It reminds me
Remember,
of yesterday. You know that yesterday that you can't find no more?
follow. Oh, why does it seem that the past is always better? We look back and we think the winters were warmer,
The winters were warmer.
grass was greener.
Oh, the grass was always greener on that side. Oh, and the sky being so blue. You know, smiles?
Can it be that it was all so simple then?
It can't be that simple, can it?
Last time we've written every
Line.
and if
We had to do it all again.
tell me,
Can we? Would we? Could we?
would we?
Could we? And she's gonna talk about memories. That's Gladys Knight, y'all. Yes, I put y'all through all of that because this song is the bomb. That's my girl, y'all. Y'all know Gladys is my girl. She and I done been through so many times of difficulties. We'll talk about that in a minute. Getting back to the gentleman who wrote that. Ladies and gentlemen, we've never promised anyone remedy. We've only promised that we would help individuals memorialize their attaining the age of majority as the law requires. We've had some people say, well, you're lying to people. You're not giving them the correct information about Minnesota Court Rule 220. Ladies and gentlemen, Minnesota Court Rule 220, we know that it's a Minnesota code only applying to land titles. Here is the problem. We are not focused on the stupid land titles. We are focused on the process, the procedure for memorializing one having attained the age of majority, as that act says. And by the way, as we told you guys so many times, if you do the research, you will find out that every birth certificate has a parcel number associated with it. The parcel number is associated with the parcel number for the hospital. Okay? That's what you need to understand. We have not misled a single person. See, I like it when this is malware bytes and it blocks them intruding websites. When you're just connected to the internet, you guys don't have any idea how many intrusive sites are trying to access your system. You know, it's the laughter. We will remember whenever we're together. Anyway, that's the way we were, ladies and gentlemen. Alright, so I just wanted to take the time to explain that. Why? Because as Tevin Campbell would say, can we talk? The fact that people are so insistent, thinking that I owe them something. Ladies and gentlemen, that's why people don't pay me. I don't owe you nothing. And if I do provide a service for you, it's the same principles for which SATCOM, SITCOM, SAA, any other organization that I start, it's the same principle they will always operate under. If you pay for a service, you will get that service because we owe that to you. But I guarantee you one thing, the fact that previously you don't get the CPNs anymore, we don't do CPNs anymore, but we were giving people CPNs. So let me explain to you what that CPN was doing for people. A CPN is a secondary number that a person can use to help correct their credit profile while they're repairing it, especially if there's a claim of fraud on their credit profile, which is what every single person who received the CPN were claiming, which means they can, once they properly register that, could use that to accomplish certain things. We're not doing it anymore, so now I can talk about it. So they get the CPN, create this new entity for which they could utilize and operate to engage in commerce. Here's the problem. You can't use the CPN and a social security number at the same time. That's illegal. Can't be two different entities at the same time, and you can't use two of those type of entities at the same time. Just can't do it. Just like they said, we can't be friends. We can't be friends. Anyway, you can't do it. Okay? And most people get in a lot of trouble because they know that there are other things that you can do with a CPN. Okay? You can't do it. That's my girl Deborah Cox, y'all. Okay? Just so that y'all get it. So, most places you go to get a CPN, you're going anywhere from $300 to $1,500. And if it's fully registered, it may cost you up to $3,000. Okay? We were providing that to people for free. They never ever paid for that. We were giving that to them. Okay, what else did we do? We helped people to form a corporation in the all caps name, a foreign corporation, helping them to obtain a 98 series number for their foreign corporation. Okay, now after we did that, we were incorporating them as honorary partners of the organization. There's a reason for that. We can't reveal that to you right now. Okay, what else did we do? We got them information from the Department of Defense saying that they were private citizens, i.e. not statutory citizens. Private citizens can't be statutory citizens, so they received a letter from the Department of Defense stating this. Then we provided them with a Uniform Commercial Code filing. Hold on. But we have people saying that we are taking their money. Well, that's what this guy said, that we were scamming people. And what we had to explain to him, sorry, you better go take a look at all the work that was done and then go and add it up and see where you can get this same stuff done for the amount that you paid. The only reason, ladies and gentlemen, by law, that we could not advertise that we were getting certain items for people in advance is because then we'll become liable under law. So that's why we offered those things at no additional charge. Oh, but wait, hold on. It didn't just stop there. The SatPack Oneers are incorporated in the SatPack 1X now. Every single one of them. And we are putting pay attention, the assets to back up the SatPack 1X, SatPack 2X, SatPack Plus, SatPack Prime, and the child support SatPack. We are putting the funding for that. And we're not even going to talk about TTOPP, what that organization is going to do for everybody. But we have people trying to compare us to other organizations, other groups. Ladies and gentlemen, there's not a single organization out there that can even become close to comparing to what we do. But this is what people are trying to assume. That's why I told them we won't be hiring anybody else from YouTube. Not a single other person is coming from YouTube. Why? Because, oh God, some of the people on YouTube are too far gone. And I'm sorry, they're so far gone that they don't even go this far back. Ladies and gentlemen, Bloodstone. You and me, girl. We go what? Go a long way back. And I'm so proud. And I'm so proud That's my other group, ladies and gentlemen. So, the people on YouTube, although the videos being done on YouTube, there are a lot of people out there looking for help, but I'm sorry, some of you, and yes, I'm going to say it because other people will be afraid to tell you the truth. This is not about lying, it's not about truth, it's about fact. Some of you are some of the most dysfunctional creatures on this planet, and I'm sorry, but it's the truth. Okay? You believe everything that people tell you. You believe everything that you hear on YouTube. Just because somebody did a video and they said it, you believe it instead of doing the research for yourself. I mean, there's so many of you out there still believing that the Federal Reserve is the one who prints up the Federal Reserve notes, knowing that the Federal Reserve don't print a single Federal Reserve note. That's all done by the United States Treasury. Federal Reserve notes are what's known as emergency script, but people haven't done their research to understand that they are authorized to print that junk under the Presidential Proclamation 2039 and the March 9, 1933 Act. That's what gives them the authority. But that's okay. There's a whole lot that people have been so misled. The sovereign citizen thing. Hey, I do agree that every person is a king of his own house, of his own castle, just like the judge said. But you cannot be a sovereign citizen. They put that junk out there and then they did it on purpose so that they could use it against you. So if somebody wants to call you a sovereign citizen, say, excuse me? Where's your evidence? Where's your proof? Where's my trial? Because the United States Congress has held that sovereign citizens are terrorists. Well, since I was born here in the United States of America, you can't just call me a terrorist without giving me my due process right to a trial. This does not fall under the Patriot Act because the Constitution proceeds and supersedes the Patriot Act. It's okay, we'll get to it in a minute. Like I said, in talking, the whole idea, if people go back and look at every single video, I am breaking my neck to try to help people. I am running myself ragged to the point where I'm telling the people at SATCOM that I don't know if I have the energy because there's just too much going on at one time. The one thing that I've been worried about all this year is the contracting. I just had to make sure of it first. Well, what was I making sure of? I had to make sure that everybody would understand that everything is contract. From the beginning of time, everything has been contract. Be fruitful, become many, fill the earth, subdue it. Do not eat from my tree. You will live long, and blah, blah, blah. Those are contracts he was establishing. Because he could have just ordered, but there was give and take. There was consideration and value. Let's explain the consideration and value with Adam when Adam was created. And I don't care if you don't believe in Adam. I'm telling a story, so just hold on to the story. Moron. Sorry. The idiot I told you about at the beginning, the first thing he spoke about in his broken English is that my God would forgive me for posting my email addresses online. Ladies and gentlemen, I have somebody who calls me an idiot. Wait, hold on. That's my song. I want to thank you, Barrel. Now, hold on 1 second. One more second, because we go where? It's we go a long, 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 long way. That's my song. I apologize. Anyway, so that everybody can understand this whole process with the contracts. The idiot emailed me and told me he hopes my God would forgive me. Now, knowing that that person, I don't like that one. Knowing that that person has his own view and take on quote-unquote God. Ladies and gentlemen, what I'm explaining to you now has nothing to do with whether or not you believe in God. It's not the point. It's the contractual relationship that was talked about at the beginning. He said, hey, let us make man in our image, according to our likeness, and let them have in subjection the fish of the sea, the flying creatures of the heavens, and every living thing that moves upon the earth. Okay, that was a contract he was making with his son. That's why he says, let us make man in our image. What was the give and take in that contract? What was the value and the consideration? Well, remember, he was gifting something to him. Let us make man in our image. So now this son was to control that group of people. They were his. He was giving them to him. Okay, if you don't believe me, just go ahead and read the scriptures and see that's what was going on. Okay, what was the son to give in return? Obedience and management. If you didn't understand, the angel of death that went through Egypt killing the firstborn, that was Jesus. You don't believe me? Go ahead and look at the book of Acts, the 7th chapter. It's exactly what it talks about. Okay, but it's okay. It's okay because those were his people. So anyway, that was the contract between those two. Now, what about the contract between man? Well, the first thing he says to man, hey, look, I just created you, and this is your job. I just gave you the breath of life. Now, this is what you're going to do to pay me back. But wait a minute, man didn't have no say-so. He didn't have a choice in that. No, it was a unilateral contract, people. That's why he's basically saying, if you don't fulfill this agreement, because you just received notice, if you don't fulfill this agreement, all I'm going to do is take away the breath of life, that gift I gave you, and then you go ahead and do whatever you want. Now, you go ahead and try living without the breath of life. Yeah, whatever. So that was the point. That was a unilateral contract. Then he told him, he says, of every tree of the garden you may eat to satisfaction. I mean, you could eat until you were the size of these mountains. And you could not be penalized for it. He says, however, you see that tree right there? Wait, hold on, y'all. You see that tree right there? That's my tree. You can have all the fruit, because all of these trees are bearing fruit. You can have all of them trees. I didn't make that picture show up, y'all. That picture showed up right on time. Did you notice that? You can have all of them trees and all of the fruit on them trees, but my tree that's way over there in that corner, well, actually, it's in the center. So you can't mistake it. See that one right there? See that one, the one that says do not touch, do not go near, do not even think about it. That's my tree. Don't even think about it. You know what Adam said? By acquiescence? Okay. Thank you. Going about his business. And Eve, she was told, hey, he said don't eat from it. He says you don't even need to touch it. Don't even think about it. He told it to her. So they all agreed. Oh, then you had this other creature who come in and, want to F everything up. So what does he tell that creature? Hey, you're going to be their guardian. You're going to watch over them. Okay, you're to protect them. So was he protecting them when he told Eve, hey, did you know that if you ate from that tree, your eyes are going to be open and you'll be just like God, knowing good and bad? Of course he was. He was protecting her because he didn't lie to her. He told her the truth. He did lie to her when he said, you positively will not die this day. In other words, he said under his breath, with his fingers crossed, that she wasn't going to die. Well, we see she's not here now, so she's dead. So he lied. The first lie ever told, but there was no rule against telling lies. Pay attention. That's why he could do it, and there was no penalty for him doing it. There was no rule. There was no law in place. Nobody had ever lied before. It was not conceived. Not by the ones that were created. By the ones who created everything. Yes, he conceived that people could lie. Okay, he knew of the possibilities. But let's get back to the conversation of contracts, ladies and gentlemen. Each of those situations were a contract. Some contracts were unilateral, such as the Mosaic Law, the Law of Moses, the book of Leviticus, Numbers, Deuteronomy, and parts of Exodus. Those were unilateral contracts. God said, this is the law. And the people accepted it. How do we know they accepted it? Well, for instance, they said, anything that Jehovah tells us, we will do. Wherever he tells us to go, we will go. They accepted the terms of the contract, which is why they were punished when they violated the contract. Pay attention, as individuals and as a nation. Everything is contract from day one to day's end. Like I explained to a group of people yesterday, electrons, protons, neutrons get along with each other because there's a contract with the three. Electrons, protons, neutrons need that contract. Without that contract, they don't exist. They cannot communicate with each other. They cannot operate together. They don't have any association. Let me show you another way to understand contract, that everything is contract. Ladies and gentlemen, oil and water. You put them together, they do not mix. Why? Because they refuse to contract with each other. Okay, so they don't mix. But if you want to take water and sand, yeah, you can put that combination together all day long. They'll never mix, but they will go together. Just like oil and sand. Okay? These are all contracts. Everything is contract, people. Everything is contract. Every time somebody opens their mouth and asks you to do something, they're asking you to contract. Once you understand everything is contract, everything is contract, everything is contract. Once you understand that, then this is what you get to do. What do I get to do? You get to now take that newfound information and you get to understand, wait a minute, unilateral contracts. How can you do a unilateral contract with the government? The same way the government does a unilateral contract with you. Hold on. No, I don't need this. What do we do? Let's do unilateral. TikTok. Oh, that's Mary J in the background, y'all. Mary J. Blige. You know, I've been looking at the unsung stories of a lot of artists that I grew up listening to. I was listening to the one about Eric B. And see, there was a lot of bad talk going about Eric B. Now, if you guys don't know who Eric B. is, I'm sorry. Okay, but those of you who do know who Eric B. is, there was a lot of bad talk about Eric B. Mobster, gangster, and all this other stuff, and how he did Rakim wrong. Ladies and gentlemen, I've watched... what was the name of this? Give me a second. Let's see if I can pull it up, because I know I has it. Let's see. No, this is Rick James, so this ain't it. It's probably on the other computer. Yeah, this is Rick, y'all. Come on, Rick. Tell it to him.
Good to see you again, baby.
Now, I remember yesterday these songs wouldn't play, but I'm going to pause, Rick.
Very, very nice these days.
Come on, Rick, pause.
I guess life must be treating you well.
It ain't letting me, y'all.
Oh, me?
It's taking control. Alright. No, I don't have the video up to show you guys. No, that's the studio version, so I can't show you. Nah, let's go back here. Unilateral contract is an agreement by which the buyer promises to pay for the performance of a specified legal act. Ladies and gentlemen, that's not a unilateral contract. That's a contract. Okay? Hold on. By the way, this is Ursher, as Ludacris would say, Ursher. This song is from 2 albums ago. What's a Man to Do? Oh, it's in 2 different places. Sorry. When I first heard Usher sing, I'm like, that boy can't sing. And I think he was like 13 years old or something. And I promise you, I was saying that boy cannot sing. To save my life, he couldn't sing. But then he did 8701. 87. the year he was born, '01. Come on now. Sorry, I'm trying to get this page to go back so that I can show you guys this. I'm going to stop talking about Usher for right now. Let's get back. The difference between a bilateral and a unilateral contract. You see, that's why a unilateral contract is not just a contract where the borrower agrees to do something. A unilateral contract is a contract created by an offerer. That's why we do a conditional acceptance of offer. It's a contract created by an offerer that can only be accepted by performance. Overview. In a unilateral contract, there is an express offer that payment be made by only by a party's performance. Okay? We're not dealing with payment, and they want to focus on payment. This is not the issue. Okay? The issue is not payment. Okay, contracts are a part of taking care of business, both personal and professional. Unilateral and bilateral contracts are something many people deal with on a day-to-day basis. So what gives us the right to do a contract with the government? Well, what's happening is the government is always changing the terms of contracts. And they're always doing unilateral contracts with us. Okay, watch this. Hold on. As soon as my mouse lets me do what I need to do. Okay. We're going to do failure to appear. We'll do New Jersey. Now watch this. Parking ticket cases, other municipal, civil and offenses, superior court offenses. The term bail jumper refers to a person when a person has missed a court date after being released on bail. The lawyer of Rosenblum law firm are skilled in criminal blah blah blah. Okay, so let's understand what's a failure to appear. Well, what happens is the court orders you to appear. Well, let's not even talk about a parking ticket. Okay? With a parking ticket, or let's say jury duty, you'll receive something in the mail and they'll tell you that you have no choice, you have to. Well, look at that. New Jersey's rules are written up like scripture. That would be chapter 7, verse 8 through 9. New Jersey's rules of court are written up as if they're scriptures. Now that's interesting. Hey, you guys know this song. Baby, baby. Okay, that's the Supremes, and the Supremes are just talking about where did our love go, baby, baby. All right. So everyone, this is what you need to understand. The reason why they can issue a failure to appear because they gave you notice. You received something giving you notice that you are supposed to show up, and you did not challenge that notice. Now it becomes binding upon you, and because it becomes binding, if you fail to appear in court for a legal matter, a municipal court judge may order one of the following. One of those things is an arrest warrant. Now this one is saying for a parking ticket, the judge can't issue an arrest warrant. Why? Because a parking ticket is not an offense against anybody. But hold on. Pay attention. If the court has not issued an arrest warrant upon your failure to defendant to comply with the court's failure to appear notice, the court shall report the failure to appear and answer to the Division of Motor Vehicles on a form approved by the administrative director of the court within 30 days of the defendant's failure to appear. Do you understand, ladies and gentlemen? So how could they do that? Just simply because you did not show up. Were you obligated to show up? Yes, you received notice. And as long as you received notice, that created a contract between you and them. Sorry, it's the way unilateral contracts work. So what the gentlemen who were in jail, let me go ahead and we're gonna stop my Supremes and we're just gonna talk. I told you this was a talking session. So for those of you who waited around to this period, you get the nuts and the crannies and the meat and the whole gusto of things. Understand this. Mr. Bradley Christopher Stark and the group of individuals that were associated with him, one of them who met Mr. Stark was Demetrius, this gentleman here. And Demetrius Hawkins, very, 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 very alright young man. Watches all my videos now for some reason. He gets on my nerves, but other than that, he alright. Anyway, this is the petition to confirm arbitration award. And this is what they put in the court. This is the petition that the court said it was construing as a writ of habeas corpus. You can't do that. The rules don't allow for that. But Demetrius and Bradley Christopher Stark, where are you at, Bradley? Bradley! Get on over here, Bradley! Okay, this is also the same person. This is Mr. Demetrius. This is his contract. Now, again, I want you all to understand, you see that right there? That's the case that this was filed in. So when Congress is saying that this stuff does not exist, then why would these guys go through the hassle of filing all of this in this court case and these other court cases and sending out the certified mail numbers and all of this stuff? All of their documents have this, but they're claiming that what these gentlemen did, you can't find any of the documents anymore. Now, because of the Transavant lawsuit that said that for 23 minutes, individual got $25,000 per minute, total of $108,000. Ladies and gentlemen, they equated it to be for 3,153 days, $4,900,000 plus $1.6 million per day after that. Okay, that's the amount. 1.6. We got to round it up to the next $100. $1.6 billion. Where's that? This is the Transavant. Okay, this is that case. 23 minutes, $108,000. Okay, and the 11th Circuit. Did you see that? The 11th Circuit. Now, how could that case go federal? Interesting. But it was decided that he would be paid $108,000 for what they did to him, holding him. I gotta take this 1 second. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, it has been about an hour and a half since we last were talking, so I forgot where I left off at. I'm supposed to write myself a little note, but I didn't think it was going to take that long, so I apologize to all of you. But we're going to just tell the story about the 3 guys who were incarcerated. Then we're going to explain to you guys how those of you who are doing paperwork, can you do the contract for other people? Yes, you can do it with their approval, with their authorization. Some of you guys are not listening to the whole videos, and some of you guys are only listening to what you want to hear. You're going to have to pay attention. And I don't care if you don't like my style of doing videos. I don't care if you don't like my style of training and teaching and all of that. I don't care. It has nothing to do with me. It's not my problem. That's your problem. See, if you don't like something, you have to live with that, not me. Okay? I know, I understand. You're a king, and you can control your own destiny, and you can do whatever you want. And I got it. I understand it. So I'm going to keep talking and let y'all do what y'all do. I'm going to be getting another call soon because we've been having some email problems with the web host, and so they'll be calling me back. So let me go ahead and explain. Bradley Christopher Stark was in jail. He had a business. He was debbing in stocks and property and real estate, and somebody didn't appreciate this young man being able to operate a business. He was smart though. See, he set up his company overseas. He set up his bank accounts overseas. He did not place all of his eggs and ducks and monies in one basket. They have gone out of their way to try to take all of his assets. This is what the system does. The system doesn't want you to become too rich, because the moment you become too rich where you think you're standing tall, all the rappers, all the boxers, all the singers, all the actors. You notice how they always go after them, and it's always for some type of financial issue, some type of taxes, because you cannot get any place without them tearing you down. Just the way it is. You'll see it. Jay-Z will be one of those who will be next, and he doesn't even know it's coming. Okay, they're letting them ride high just for the moment. But it's just the way it is, ladies and gentlemen. So they went after Mr. Bradley Christopher Stark. Said that he had done all kind of tax issues and securities fraud and all of that stuff. And so Mr. Starks bailed out of jail, pending trial. Well, while he was out on bail, he was doing some research, and he came across a couple of videos of mine and some other people, and he took that information and he did his research. Well, one of the things he researched and found was, well, that he could put together a contract. But everybody knew you conditionally accept the contract. But not just any conditional acceptance. What did he do? Well, what he did, this is natural with this particular animal. Since it crawls and rolls the way it does, you can see how this would protect them, how this is extra thick, extra layered because of how they roll. Anyway, the research that he did, he found out that he could do a contract, but then he realized that in order for his contract to be binding on all parties and for the court not to sit up there and construe it this way, that way, any other way, he had to operate and do it a certain way. And that's what he did. I need you all to hold on for one brief second. So in his research, he went over the Arbitration Act, the Federal Arbitration Act. Now, many people would not have done this. They would have gone over the State Arbitration Act, but he was in federal custody, and he also understood that if it was federal, it would convey to other states so that he could allow himself to rest under that jurisdiction. Well, as he's going over the Federal Arbitration Act, he realizes that whatever the arbitrator decides is law, for that matter. Well, most people would have assumed that, well, then they're stuck with the arbitrator. That whatever the arbitrator says, they're stuck with it because the arbitration associations usually tend to favor the government. They're not fair. I participated in arbitration last year where we demanded that certain evidence be produced on the record. Sorry, this is Natural Reader 15. We just purchased this for the organization of SAA. And so each one of the members receives a copy of that software so that it will help them with the arbitration process. But back to Mr. Stark. After he realized this, then he had to put together a ironclad contract. But that wasn't enough. Mr. Stark realized that he had to, Bradley Christopher Stark, realized that he had to put together the contract in such a way that even if they responded, that it would still admit their guilt. So he did his proofs of claims based on facts of law, not based on presumption, but based on what the courts have actually said, as opposed to what they say to people on the down low. Put that stuff together, and thus his contract being 500 plus points of averment. But what he didn't do is he did not make it to where if they fail to answer one question, it amounts to a failure to answer all of them and an agreement to the contract. That was my adding in of that. And then my understanding was that there was an obligation between the two parties. But as I told them when they first brought it to my attention, you can't bind the United States to no contract. The United States is a sovereign entity. You can't bind them to a contract. Sovereign entity has the right to enter into a contract the same as a private entity, so-called citizen. So they're entering into the contract. It took me about 2 months to fully grasp that, how they could bind the United States. Well, not only did they bind the United States through the Attorney General. Now, People are asking, well, who do we send the documents to? So if you look at the document with the banks, if you look at the document that deals with individuals who are incarcerated, as a matter of fact, I think this is, well, this is one, but I want this one right here. Yeah, this is one of the documents. Who is this for? Obligation to contract. Come on now, Mousy. You see the hour little glass is still spinning. But each one of the documents has who it goes to. People, you're asking us to think for you if you're asking us who do you send it to. Who can I run to? Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, you send it to the parties that matter. For instance, if it's a financial document dealing with monies, do you not send it to the Treasury? Do you not send it to the Secretary of State? Do you not send it to the Attorney General? Do you not send it to the Federal Reserve? You have to think for yourself. We're not supposed to be thinking for you. Now, the one with the prisons, you definitely send it to the Department of Defense. You definitely send it to the Secretary of State for the United States, the Secretary of State for the state that they're in, the actual Attorney General for the state that they're in. You send it to the Department of Defense. You will also send it to who else besides the Department of Interior? Necessary Department of Agriculture? And the Executive Department for the United States of America. Now, again, finances, banking, and incarceration. But what if it's dealing with the infant estate? Who do you send it to? Well, there's already a list on the site. But then we called it the All Corps doc. Let's see if I can find that All Corporations doc. 1 second. Okay. That's what I had to do. It's taken me a couple of minutes because I had to pull up the files, but let me show you where they are so that you can have them as well, so that you'll know, because people need addresses. So you'll have to confirm that these are the addresses, but this is, as we've been telling you, we've been doing this for a while. So this is not the first time. So you're going to go to the PDF site on our website. PDF? I don't know where that's located. Can you tell me where it's located so I can get there? Because I'll see you when you get there. See you when you get there. Okay, that's what I need to know. All right, ladies and gentlemen, watch this. Tick, 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 tock. Tick, tock, tick, tick, tock, tock. Okay, we're going to go to satcom911.com. We're working on it. We need to find a particular program to allow us to do this, because the program we were using before, because they went to the SSL, that's what that little lock is, showing that the site is secured. Since they went to that, the coding for that is interfering with the coding for how our website used to have the files to where you could do the search and all of that. It's interfering, and because it's interfering, it's causing problems, and because it's causing problems, that's why you can't get there. So you're going to go here and you're going to click on PDFs. Just that simple. I'll see you when you get there. Now, the first one you're going to put is called Declaration. It's opening here. Declaration and Proclamation, Publication of Indigenous Nationality. That's just some information for some of y'all who might appreciate the information that's there in that document. Okay? Now, the document, it's called the New District Court Document. The New District Court Document, that's right. It's going to be, come on now, the New District Court Document. That's this one right here. Right here. So we just going to open it up. Open. Sorry. Like I said, we're installing voices for natural reader, and so it's gonna take a minute because it's just don't want to take its time pulling up. Come on now, hurry up. All right, so we got our natural reader program going, and we also open up a Word document. That's what this one was for. We're gonna open up this one, open, and we're gonna open up this one, open. Now it's called the All U.S. Corps Doc. That's the document I was talking about. You see, this way back in June we were doing this one. Okay, then this was January. Okay, then this was, I don't know what date this one was. Okay, but we started putting the dates in front, because we knew we were going to come up to moments and times like these where people were going to be doing other things other than what we were doing and wanting to receive credit and take credit and time and all of that other stuff. So we wanted to clear all of that up. Now, this ain't going to let me do nothing because we're opening up 2 more Word documents. So it's going, well, it was letting me do something. Hold on. Let's see if it's going to let me scroll all the way to the top, because we started from the bottom. Now we made it to the top. Okay. See these addresses right here? People are asking me, where do you send these things? We put most of the documents have the addresses. Now, of course, you're not going to send it to Citibank. You're going to put your bank information there. But you notice all of these are, well, I can't show it to you now because I got the little hourglass, but all of the companies are financial institutions dealing with financial matters like the U.S. Treasury. Uh-oh. Get out of here. I don't know why some of my Word documents won't pull up, and that's what that was saying, that it didn't want to pull up. All right, hold up, pull up, hold up. So that is a configuration issue. But I will hope that it will pull up. But let's get back to this so that we can understand, and we'll explain that in a minute. The All U.S. Corps document works this way. It already has the name of all the corporations in the U.S. who has a controlling interest in anything. The reason why you're sending the infant estate document to them is because you want to gain control of the securities held in your minor account. Now, here's the thing. If you have attained the age of 18, and many people, especially those associated with SATCOM, have attained the age of 18, and when they attained the age of 18, what did they do? They documented it on the record. How did they do that? By filing it on a county record. See, these are all corporations associated with the minor estate, minor account. Okay? So that's what that's for. And there's that extra box up there. Okay, you have to fill this out according to your needs, according to your situation. Not here to tell you how to fill out this stuff. Not here to tell you how to do the process. Only here to tell you of your right to the process. See, that's getting on my nerves. That should not be. So let me do that. Hold on one second. Okay, there's just so much to do. Here's the All Corps doc. Now notice what it says. Continuing attempt to validate a debt is what it says, because we already knew. And this document, let's continue. The first one, that address. Verified complaint, U.S. corporation, executive, and let's see, is this one? This is not the one that I had a copy of. This one, the one that I had a copy, literally had the numbers for every single solitary agency that it was to go to. So give me a second to pause y'all and find that and then show it to y'all. 1 second. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the one of 2 documents. Pay attention. Canon number 2056. Any administrator or executor that refuses to immediately dissolve the Sesticate v. Trust upon a person establishing their status and competency is guilty of fraud and fundamental breach of their fiduciary duties requiring their immediate removal and punishment. Like I said, we've been doing this for a moment. That's what the current contract will do. It will allow you to start enforcing this. Now, how are we going to enforce it? What if they tell us we can't enforce it and they start blocking us and doing this and doing that? And you just sitting up here giving people paper, like they're giving paper and all the people. Shut up. Just shut up. Now hold on. Pay attention. Cease and desist order presented under reserved rights with the discharge of all of claims presented by Brett, son of Isaac, agent. He is not a corporation. He is a living soul enshrouded with the breath of life, with Jehovah the living God as his creator and sole ruler. He is not a collective entity or a fictitious character of any sort or kind. Has never consented to being, nor shall ever be such a fiction. He is the grantor beneficiary in relation to this matter and does not consent to servitude of any nature. Presenter hereby dissolves and collapses any and all trusts associated with his person, name, being, property, and the fiduciaries are commanded to do whatever is necessary to carry out the wishes of the presenter. Now, as we told people, you don't want to collapse the trust. The trust is there for your benefit. But if you choose to collapse the trust, you will have that right. but you'll have to incorporate, pay attention, I just want to make sure you understand, you'll have to incorporate things like, hold on, that right there into your infant contract. Okay? And again, let's see. Give me 1 second. No, I can't find the other information I'm looking for. So let's go up here to the other. Hey. An act for settling and establishing the Court of Executor in the north of Great Britain called Scotland, and or the Sesquier v. Act of 1540, Sesquier v. Act of 1666, Sesquier v. Act of the 1700s, Sesquier v. Act of the 1800s, Sesquier v. Act of the 1900s, and or blah blah blah. All of that information is right there on the line. Online for you all to have access to this. We put in all of this junk here because they were adding in all of this. Now pay attention. We added the Trading with the Enemies Act, the original. We added the Emergency Powers Act of 1861. We added the Emergency Economic Relief Act of 1933, which is the March 9th, 1933 Act. We added the Emergency Relief and Construction Act of 1931 and 1932. Please understand when I say we have been talking about this, and we're hoping that people would get it. We couldn't enforce it. So Mr. Bradley Christopher Starks brought about how we are to enforce it. I can just close this out. I don't need that no more. He is the one who provided the help and the assistance. Why? Because we had... Let me make sure these little boxes go away. See that right there? That right there. I need them to go away. Come back here some other day. Come on now, go away. It don't want to go away, y'all. I guess they're here to stay. All right. What he did is he added in the arbitration clause. He turned in our executive orders, because that's what that was, an executive order. Let me go ahead and show it to you so that you can see that it's an executive order. Let's go. Executive order. This is the executive order number from the Office of the Executor. Remember, an executor is nothing but a fiduciary, so you don't want to be an executor. But it was an executive order. Okay, but how do we enforce our executive orders? Simple, ladies and gentlemen. We enforce it by entering into a contract with them. Now, we can prove we have a relationship with them. A person who's incarcerated has a relationship with the state and with the federal government and with the Attorney General's office. They have a relationship. They have a contract. They have an obligation to each other, both sides of the coin. So they get to enforce their agreement. How? By doing a conditional acceptance of the offer, as we showed you earlier. Okay? Whenever they try to change the terms of condition, and you will find that on the site as well. Let's go here. Come on. The whole thing about notice and change in terms of conditions. So let's see, where is it? It's, oh, there it is right there. See at the bottom, notice a change in terms of conditions. You'll see it appear right there in just a second, so that you'll see notice of change in terms and conditions. So when they send you a new offer, whether it be something from the court, it doesn't matter. Now, you don't have to do this every time. You can do it in bunk to cover everything. Did you say in bunk or in bunk? In bunk. Oh, so you said in bunk, not in bunk. That's correct. Okay. So you can do it so it covers everything. That's what the contracts that you see online does. Everybody wants to, they really want out. They really want to get some sort of breathing room. Ladies and gentlemen, the first thing they're going to do is they're going to balk. They're going to try to ignore these documents. Let me explain to you what you do when that happens. They ignore your junk. That gives you the right to ignore their junk. The moment they ignore your junk, you take it, because remember, each one of our documents are being sent to the Attorney General, to the Supreme Court of the state, to the Supreme Court of the United States, when it deals with federal matters. We don't care about this because we ain't doing no network check. I got my firewall is blocking that firewall. Anyway, it's blocking that, so it can't access the internet. All right, let's get back to this. We're sending it to the Supreme Court of the United States when we're dealing with the banks, and when we're dealing with the infant estate, and when we're dealing with incarceration. You're sending it to all branches of government. So if you're in a state, you send it to the governor or the secretary of state. If it's the United States, you send it to the president and the secretary of state. You send it to the 3 different branches of government on each level in your state and for the U.S. state. If it is the Treasury that you're dealing with, you send it to them. If it's the, what's that other name of the other company? The Federal Reserve, you send it to them. Then you send it to your bank if you're dealing with a mortgage. Or if you're incarcerated, you send a copy to the warden. Okay? Now, most people, you need to be cautioned about sending documents to the warden. The warden doesn't appreciate that. They retaliate against the guy who's incarcerated. So if you think, if that person feels that there might be retaliation, because they like to take away privileges, they like to take away commissary and telephones and all of that, and they'll do what they did to me. Somebody filed a UCC, a non-UCC for me, and I gave them permission to do it, and they sat up there and threw me in the hole. No warning, no nothing. Wouldn't let me talk to nobody, did not know what it was for, only found out 45 days later, beyond their so-called statute of limitations, what it was for. And it turns out that it wasn't against any individual. It was being done on my behalf for me, not against anybody. But that's the way they perceived it because these idiots are ignorant. But again, if you think it's going to cause that problem, then don't send it to the warden. Send it to the official warden for the state. Who's the warden? The governor. Because he controls all the prisons of the state. And then you send it to the Department of Defense when you're dealing with incarcerated individuals. Can you sign for the person as stated before? Yes, you can sign for the person with their permission. You can enter into the contract and you can make yourself the third-party representative as the contract specifies. Okay? People, take your time. Congress is not going to be passing the law to get rid of arbitration tomorrow. Now, they could, but I doubt it because they have too much on their mind right now. But as we told you, they called it the Arbitration Fairness Act. They're trying to make it seem like it's so innocent. It's not going to hurt anybody. It's a lie. And that's what they're doing. They're making it sound like it's no big deal so that everybody can ignore it. Just like they passed the Internet Neutrality Act. You guys know about the Web Neutrality Act, right? Well, what internet neutrality is, it's not neutrality as in everybody gets to be treated equal and fairly. No, it's not that. Internet neutrality or web neutrality is about the bigger companies. When you're trying to get to their site, they get better access. They get the quicker speed. Individuals get to their site quicker. A lot of lobbying went on for that, but they called it net neutrality because it made it seem like it was innocent. This is how they're labeling these acts. Remember, here's the thing. When it's important to you and I, and they know it's going to cause a lot of flack, they give it an acronym. When it is important to them, they give it a soft sounding name. Net neutrality, Fairness Act, the Patriot Act. They give it all of these wonderful little names that seem like they're so innocent. But when it's affecting everybody and it's going to cause controversy, NDAA. Do you understand? So, ladies and gentlemen, SACOM, SAA, none of them can tell you all how to fill out your contracts. The contracts are put up there as a template and they cover everything. If you're not sure, all the information is self-explanatory. All you got to do is read it. Remember, it's contextually to be construed, so we know that some people are going to make mistakes, but it's to be construed contextually. And if any portion of it is deemed invalid or inappropriate or blah, 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 it does not affect the rest of the document. All of that's included. So what I'm going to say is, you cannot contact me. You cannot contact the organizations who are publishing that and putting it on their site to explain this to you. That's not their job. That's not my job. We've been talking about contracts for too long. There's too much information on the internet about contracts, unilateral and otherwise. I just showed you. So you cannot call us. You cannot communicate with us. You cannot email us. And when I say us, I mean myself and those organizations for which I had a hand in starting, because they're not going to be able to give you a response. You need to understand that. And don't get mad because somebody doesn't answer your question. We're not required to. We're not obligated to. If you want to get mad at somebody, get mad at the person who are allowing you to be put in the situation you're in. Don't sit up here and try to rationalize that somebody owes you something. Let me say it again. I don't owe you anything. I'm not doing this for you. I'm doing this for me because it is something I asked to be able to do. So if you don't like the way I choose to help my neighbor, you're free to go get help from someone else. Oh, that's right. Nobody else is talking about this stuff but me. Isn't that true? But hopefully these videos will get others to talking. Hopefully people will see the value of engaging these individuals into a binding agreement. Like I said, some of you are going to get clever. You're going to add in all kind of information. You're going to add in information that they can only pee standing on one foot. And if they want to cough, they have to cough into the north air at 75 degrees, with a temperature of 14 minus sub-zero, and then if they're hopping on one foot, they must hop on three. You're going to do the same thing that the government has done to people. Add so many restrictions and stupidity that you're going to invalidate your own junk. That's right, I said junk. Because once you start adding all of that junk to it, it becomes junk. So do yourselves a favor. Understand that this process is not as complicated as you're trying to make it seem. Understand that the more of you who have contracts, you can then come in as a collective group, a class, to have your contracts enforced by going through Congress, the same as these gentlemen did. This is a group thing. Now look, I have to let you go, but I just want you to go and do your research on arbitration. And look, if you take the time, we did this stupid failure to appear. Let's see if I have the site up here. All right, we won't need that. We're going to go to SAA Limited TED.com. SAAlimited.com. We're going to go there because we need you to understand. And you're going to go to, here's the suggestion. You're going to go to each of the pages and see the information that's there, because that's designed to educate you on the arbitration process. Okay, that's why that information was put there. Hey, it ain't taking me to SAA. Do y'all see this? Y'all saw me type in SAA. Look at that. Oh well, I won't be going to SAAlimited.com. It wants to do a Google search. I don't want to do no stupid Google search. Nope, don't want to go to no Gmail. Oh, ain't that about a... Get out of here. Doing everything but the right thing. Alright. Sorry I couldn't take you guys to SAA. I got a new router, and so I haven't programmed it correctly, and so I was trying to do all of this without programming it because of the way my computer is set up, but I got a new router because I got internet now. And I just haven't programmed the router because I needed to get this information up because so many people are asking so many questions. And so the idea was to answer their questions this way. Look, everyone, just because you and I may have a couple of conversations doesn't mean that I'm here at your beck and call. Now, let me explain, because a lot of people want all access. Go ahead and talk to the attorney who you hired a year ago, and just try running questions by him and see how quickly he'll start answering your questions. No, he's going to want to charge you. And he's going to want to charge you and charge you and charge you. Why? because he simply doesn't have the time to commit time to you whenever you feel like it. The people on YouTube think that they're the only people in the world. Not in the world, on the world. See, they think that they're the ones that are in control of their destiny and in control of everything else, and they want to control your lives too. They want to tell you when you can eat, when you can sleep, when you can sit down, when you can cry, when you can think. You don't get to do that, people. You don't get to control another person's life. You don't want anybody controlling your life. So when someone like me tells you, no, you cannot call me, no, you cannot ask me questions, no, I'm not here at your beck and call, and you don't listen, then you deserve what you get. Like the idiot I talked about at the beginning of this video. And I call him an idiot because he decided he wanted to email me at all my email addresses. So I had to spam him and block him from those. Because he was trying to prove a point. He didn't like the fact that he was not approved. I don't care. I don't care. And he's going to tell everybody, it's because he's homophobic. First of all, and I'll say this because it needs to be said, my past, my life, what I used to do, please, there is no I wish somebody would accuse me of that. Now, don't get me wrong, I hate the lifestyle now. I hated it then. I really do, sincerely, hate it now. Do I hate the people who engage in such activities? No. Why would I do that? Why would I hate somebody because of what they did? I will hate you for hating my God. I have no problem with that one. Okay? Just that simple. But other than that, I don't hate nobody. There's not a single person on this planet that I hate. There are things that I hate. Hate is such an evil word. Hate is not an evil word. The Bible says that there are 6 things that Jehovah hates. There are 7 that are detestable to his soul. So he hates things. So how can hate be an evil word when God himself hates? People, I don't hate anything. I do hate what he hates. I hate what is bad. The scriptures require me to. Psalms, the 97th chapter. Or stanza. Got to say it correctly. But I hate what I hate. But I don't hate people. People are people. People make decisions. Whether they are dumb, whether they're intelligent, whether they're stupid, whether they're senile, or whether they are informative. People make decisions. They have to live with those decisions, not me. None of your decisions don't affect me. Now, when your decision do affect me, let me tell you something about the officers in that facility that they took me to, in both facilities they took me to, and how they treated me. Each of those facilities were trying to cause me pain, trying to cause me trouble, trying to cause me discomfort. I told all of you, to this day, nobody has done me wrong that has gone without there being some sort of a consequence, some sort of a payback with reality. Told you the judge who was causing me so many problems, she had to go through her husband dying and having no comfort from nobody. She had to suffer that experience by herself. I later felt very sorry for her for having to go through that, because I know what it feels like to lose a best friend. But she had to experience that without any comfort. And then judges who are no longer presiding judges, or who are no longer on the bench after they have caused me problems. Look, ladies and gentlemen, it is just a reality. I don't cause it to happen. I love the God I serve. Now, am I saying that he directly caused it? No, what I'm saying is that he purposely withheld his blessings or withheld his help from those persons. Now, people will sit up here and say, oh, that's all that legal, blah, 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 religious, blah, blah. They can do all of that all they want. See, I don't need your beliefs to prove to me that my God exists, nor do you need mine. So let's put our gods against each other. Let's do an Elijah and have the 2 gods, or the one true God and all the many other gods, and let's do battle. Let's have them compete against each other. Let's see who delivers their servant in the end. It's okay. I trust and believe that you believe what you believe. Hold on to that. Okay? However, my beliefs are based on scripture. My beliefs are based on actual scripture, not on conjecture, on what somebody made up. See, I love it when people tell me what I believe. Well, you people believe this. Really? How are you going to tell me what I believe? How are you going to tell me how I think? And that's what people have the habit of doing, wanting to control your very nature, wanting to control how you think, wanting to put you in a little shell so that you can't move. And that's what this video has been about from the very beginning. People, you don't get to control me. And there's so many people trying to do that. That's what the whole nature of the contract is all about, is so that they can't control you. So if you don't want anybody controlling you, please don't try to control them. Don't try to control another, because you will reap what you sow. You will do to others as you want yourself to be treated, which means that's how you're going to be treated. That's all that was saying. Because you reap what you sow. All right, enough about all of that. People had questions about the contract and understanding the contract. Look, when Mr. Stark and the rest of the gentlemen went and got an attorney, Mr. Stark could afford the attorney, so he hired a private attorney to go ahead and put the motion before Congress. Went to Rand Paul. Rand Paul introduced the bill into Congress, and it passed. President Barack Obama said no. So it went back to the House and Senate, and they passed it with an overwhelming majority in both the House and the Senate. They sent it back to the president because they overrode his veto, and then the president signed it into law. But because you have 3 black men and their families, extensive families, receiving more than $20 billion based on their claim, that's right, they approved them for more than $20 billion, you can't let that stand. I'm sorry, I ain't racist. Oh, the moment you say you ain't racist, that means you're a racist. No, I hate other things. But I don't hate people because of their skin color. I don't hate people at all. But I just said that. Let's do this. They will not ever let a black person win. Nothing. Sorry, it's just our society. You cannot let the spooks, the monkeys, the coons, you can't let them achieve, because then that takes away your idea that they are less persons than those who are not of their skin color. Remember, they were still said by the United States to be only, what was it? What did they say? 1/5 of a man? Because of their skin color, they were only 1/5 of a man, because men were judged by the color of their skin. To this very day, they still have that mentality. It's okay. It's a cultural thing, people. You can't root that out of a system after 300 years. Yeah, I know people were saying 400 years. Look, when the so-called Pilgrims first came over here, they didn't come over here with slaves. They were the ones who were treated as slaves. That's why they came over this way. They didn't start bringing the slaves in until they started bringing in the economy, until they started bringing over commerce. That's when they made, pay attention, the slave trade a business here in this land. Okay, that was in the 1700s, ladies and gentlemen, and the 1800s. There was no 400 years. 400 years was the Israelites being in bondage and captivity to the Egyptians, and it was to be 430 years. But you'll hear a lot of people talking about, oh, we were in slavery for 400 years. Ain't no 400 years. The math simply don't add up. 17, 18, 19, and this is the beginning of 2000. That ain't even 400 years, y'all. Okay, that's the problem. So that's what happens when you listen to people as opposed to doing the research yourself. So, again, I show you the research. That's why I'm telling you about the documents, and I'm telling you about where the information is coming from. And all you got to do is, if it doesn't have a particular location where it's coming from, you just take the phrase, you copy and you paste it into Google, and Google will tell you where the document is. All right. Thank you very, very much. Have a good day. Have a good life. Have a good night. Have a good bye. I will speak to you guys the next time. Hopefully this information that was provided in this video was beneficial to at least one person. If it was beneficial to one of you, then that means it was worthwhile. Have a good day. Goodbye. Goodie adios. Arrivederci. Sayonara.